Hello, listener. This week on the How to Survive podcast, it is the recent Blake Lively starring shark attack movie, The Shallows. So it might still be in the cinema, depending on where you are. And of course, when you're listening, it could be 10 years down the line and you've had it in your collection. The disc is worn out because you've watched it so many times. And if that's the case, then you have nothing to fear. But if you haven't seen The Shallows, don't forget we are a spoiler-filled podcast, so it's in your best interest to go seek it out. And once you've seen it, don't forget to get in touch. You can talk to us on Twitter. The Twitter handle is @HowToSurvivePod. You can follow us on there and tweet at us, or you can email the show directly at howtosurviveshow@gmail.com. And next week we are going to be covering another shark attack movie, and that is the 1999 B-movie classic Deep Blue Sea, starring Samuel L. Jackson. So I'm sure the DVD is available for pennies everywhere that you'd normally buy DVDs, so it's really worth seeking it out, and we'll see you next week to talk about that film. But for the meantime, let's talk about The Shallows.
Hey sis.
Hey!
I just want to let you know I made it here. Mom was right. It took forever to find, but it's perfect.
Hello and welcome to episode 57 of How to Survive, and boy oh boy do we have a film to sink our teeth into this week. That's right, we'll be diving beneath the surface of the horror movie making waves at the box office this summer. It's The Shallows. My name is Chris, and joining me on this isolated rocky outcrop is Joe.
Hello.
The Shallows tells the story of Nancy, a surfer who finds herself shark bait during a trip to an isolated beach in Mexico. Later we'll discuss how exactly we'd survive Nancy's particular predicament, but to keep you on the hook, let's first recap the plot, just to outline exactly what sort of choppy water she finds herself in.
You look so smug.
Well, there's probably about 12 puns in there.
Yeah. We're having a whale of a time here, aren't we?
Brilliant.
I've haddock up to here with you.
What?
I've haddock up to here with you. I'm just going off the halibut.
Yeah. Nancy is a travelling medical student who, by a series of plot contrivances, travels alone to a secret Mexican beach to grieve the recent loss of her mother. An avid surfer, Nancy soon takes to the waves, meeting a couple of fellow surfers and enjoying the ocean exclusively in radical slow-motion montage. During a break from surfing, we learn that Nancy has a strained relationship with her father, and that the secret beach is one her late mother went to when she was pregnant with Nancy. She also has a sister. This is as much character development as is necessary in The Shallows. She soon heads back out to surf and encounters the carcass of a humpback whale. Suddenly, Nancy is knocked from her board by a gigantic shark who proceeds to bite a chunk from her leg. Nancy climbs onto the rotting whale before seeking refuge on a nearby rock. Nancy dresses her wound and spends a long night and day on the rock and watches helplessly as the shark eats a drunken thief and the two surfers she met earlier in the day, one of whom drops a GoPro camera. Nancy records a last message to her family on the camera and swims to a nearby buoy. I say buoy, boy, but it's not a boy that's in the ocean, but it's a boy. See what I mean?
Yeah, a boy.
A boy, yeah?
A nearby boy.
Yeah, a nearby boy. She swims to a nearby buoy before the tide rises above the rock she stood on. There, she unsuccessfully attempts to signal a ship with a flare before turning the flare gun on the shark itself, angering it immensely. With a storm rolling in, the shark attacks the buoy, severing two of its anchoring chains.
Which boy?
Severing two of its anchoring chains, Nancy manages to break the last chain herself and rides it dramatically to the bottom of the ocean, where she is able to lure the rabid shark into charging headfirst into some rebar sprouting from the buoy's concrete anchor. With the shark dead, Nancy wakes up safe on the shore and a year later takes her sister surfing. And that is the plot. What little plot there is, Joe,
I know.
of Jean Collet-Serra's 2016 shark attack movie, The Shallows, starring Blake Lively. What did you think of The Shallows?
You know what I thought of it. We went
name.
to see it together.
We did.
And I was not impressed.
No?
No, it was. I mean, I think I said in the toilet afterwards, as I was being sick, between gasps for air when I was vomiting about how bad this film was. It wasn't that bad, but I think I said it was the perfect horror film if you're a 15-year-old girl.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because it's not challenging.
No.
It's not. I mean, the emotional investment is
nil.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, the emotional investment goes as far as Blake Lively looks like a nice girl.
Yeah.
And her mum's dead. That's a
I love how that's explained to us is by her going through her Instagram feed.
Yeah.
And the only 3 photos she has are her mum on the beach, pregnant with her.
Yeah.
Her mum holding her.
Yeah.
And then her mum with cancer.
Yeah. There's not a single photo of them together.
Yeah.
From the interim 24 years, whatever it is.
Yeah. But I think maybe she died that young. She died
she died recently.
Was it?
Yeah. So it's her recent death that she's there to get over, because Nancy is of course a medical student. Yeah. But the death of her mother has
shaken her confidence in the medical profession.
And that's caused some tension between her and her father.
And these are important things to remember as we go into this film.
They factor so much into the plot.
I have a question.
Yeah.
And I want to get this out of the way up front. Okay. Why didn't they just make her pregnant? That would have been so much better, because she goes to the place her mother went when she was pregnant. Yeah. There's an island off the shore where they say, oh, look, it looks like a pregnant woman. Mm. And the guy says, I don't see it looking like a pregnant woman. And she says, oh, maybe it's just me. Yeah. Right? Looks at the camera. Maybe it's just me who's pregnant. Yeah. Right? And then, here's how you can make it even better. Right. When the shark at one point has got an arrow in its mouth, like a harpoon gun. Yeah. Find out instead that the shark's pregnant. And suddenly they're both pregnant, and it's more like Alien. You've got that sort of just woman trying to survive.
How would she possibly know that the shark's pregnant?
I don't know. Maybe she's marine biologist rather than a...
Right, okay.
Because she's giving 15-minute monologues to herself.
So she's a marine biologist, and then so she's dead 15 minutes into the film because she can't stop the bleeding from an open wound on her leg.
They don't teach self-stitching in medical school.
Well, no, but
vets would learn it as well. If she's a marine vet.
Works with sharks.
But it would make more sense than just having my mum was pregnant when she came here.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It doesn't don't have it in there at all. Yeah. Alternatively,
I've got Chris, the email chain between Jean Collet-Serra, the director,
right,
and Lynn Harris, the producer.
Okay. How have you got hold of this?
I don't want to get into it.
Okay.
But let's just say there's so many email hacks that I got nothing on this. Hi Jean, I really like the story. I think it's got some great tension, and some of the things that happen aren't completely obvious, and a couple of times it's a bit shocking. However, I really think we need to know more about Nancy's family. Cheers, Lynn. Hi Lynn, glad you like the shocking parts. I think the shark's death is pretty gnarly. Not sure what you mean about the family. I think the film is a pretty high concept sort of style which doesn't need any more characters. They might be a distraction from the sense of isolation if we feel that she has a connection to anyone. Regards, Jean. Hi Jean, glad you agree. The family stuff is a great way for us to prevent the feeling of isolation and help us to connect with the character. We all have families, so we'll all feel a much deeper level of empathy for her when she has a family too. Which family members do you have in mind? Lynn. Hi Lynn, I think we're getting our wires crossed here. I think having the family would ruin the film. It would water down quite a succinct script by having lines out to other things. I think the only thing worse would be if her mother had died and this whole thing was some kind of cathartic way for her to deal with her grief.
Yeah.
Can you imagine a scene where her mother appears to her in a kind of hallucinatory vision? That would be ridiculous. I really don't think it would work. Regards, Jean. Hi Jean, great idea! Let's go with that. Lynn. That's a real conversation that happened.
Real, actual, behind the scenes there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only explanation, I think.
Yeah, it's bare bones character development, isn't it?
It's none. It's
but I mean, Yeah. Oh, interestingly,
You said it.
interestingly, Joe. Interestingly, Blake Lively. According to IMDb. Interestingly, Blake Lively herself, right? She did all of her stunts until the last 2 weeks of the shoot. Do you know why she didn't do them during those 2 weeks?
Well, it's either going to be she was pregnant.
She was pregnant.
Yeah.
So, in a lot of ways, you were right. The Shallows, Shallow by name, and yeah.
I mean, what?
It's the most. I think it's the most B movie film I've seen in the cinema since Snakes on a Plane. You know how Snakes on the Plane was literally just like
Snakes on a Plane.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like this might as well just be woman versus shark.
And it would be better if it was,
right?
Because the fucking conversation with her dad and her sister at the beginning, like,
yeah.
The best part, Chris, is at the end, right? The final scene is like a coda, like 1 year later. She's at the beach with her dad and her sister, who was like at the beginning, like, oh, I wish you'd take me surfing. Right?
Yeah.
They're going surfing. They're going to run out. She's, oh yeah, I'm not going to be put off surfing.
Yeah. And her dad goes, your mother would be so proud of you.
But why? Because she's surfing.
Yeah.
She got eaten by a shark. There's no. What is?
Yeah.
It's a meaningless thing.
It's like overcoming your fears, Joe, and getting out in the world and being a.
But she was never scared of sharks any more than any normal person would be.
No, that's true. Do you know? I like my favourite bit of the film is when she's stuck on the rock and the two surfers return and they start surfing out into the ocean. Yeah. And Blake Lively's there. She's like bleeding from an open wound. Yeah. And she's stood on her own on a rock, like in the
same clothes she had on the day before.
Yeah, exactly. 200 meters out to sea. She's dehydrated. She's probably like scarlet from the sunburn that she suffered, right? And she's going, "Shark! There's a shark! Look, a fucking shark! Look out for it!" And one of the surfers goes, "There's no sharks around here." Like, they've just presumably walked past the severed body of the drunk man that's lying on the beach. They've just gone, oh, he's really hammered.
Bit in half.
It's a very, very silly film. It is up there with, like, Snakes on a Plane. But
I don't think it has the... Like, it doesn't know it is. Do you know what I mean?
Well, you say that, Joe, but may I remind you how the film ends, or how the duel between Nancy and the shark ends, and that's by Nancy diving at sort of warp speed to the bottom of the ocean, and then just at the James Bond-esque at the final second pulling out of the dive down, and the shark is going so fast. It's like, fuck, there's all this mass of concrete and metal, and I've got no way to stop myself from hitting it, and just plows open-mouthed straight into it.
It's like this 8-stone woman can just get out of the way, but this 40-ton shark can't. It just swims for a living. Let's bear in mind.
For a living, yeah. Well, I mean, momentum is a factor, obviously.
Yeah, but she wouldn't have any then. Either she'd have so much she'd crash into it.
No. As in but she's she's a surfer, and she knows what she's doing, Joe. She feels at home in the water. God. Not like that shark. And can I also let you cast your mind back? Okay, she's on the rock, and this is the point at which I was like, "What the fuck is this that's going on in the film?" She's on the rock, and she sees the boy.
Which one?
The boy that's floating.
The flotation boy.
Yeah. That's floating over there, and she's like, right, well, that's a secure place to be, obviously. Makes sense. And so she's like, but how am I going to swim across there without the shark getting to me? Right. And it's at that point that she notices the giant underwater squadron of jellyfish that happened to be between her and the boy. And I don't want to become one of these people who's like picking holes. So it just happens to be some jellyfish in the fucking thing, right? But she then swims out into all of them, and then they all glow and they all light up, and it's like Avatar. Yeah. And I hated Avatar. Yeah. And I was watching this film and I was going, what is happening here? Yeah. This is one of the strangest and most ridiculous. It's like a borderline Disney princess moment. I was half expecting she's gonna somehow compel the jellyfish to attack the shark.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
overpower it.
it's like an 80-minute film,
It is,
and it wears that badly.
Well, let's not forget though that I think, let me just check on here, because it's 86 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, and exactly 65 minutes and 30 seconds of that running time are just shots of Blake Lively's bum.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
just normally in close up, normally in slow motion. There are, I think, 15 different shots of her diving under a wave as she's swimming out, all in slow motion, and with a dramatic remix of a Little Mix song.
Was it?
Yeah, playing in the background. I Don't Look for Trouble. I think it's called. Let's hear a little bit of it.
Hello there, listener. This is Joe speaking from the future. I'm here to correct Chris on his pop music knowledge. The song that litters the surfing scenes in The Shallows wasn't a Little Mix remix, though it did sound a lot like one. It was actually a song called Trouble by the British four-piece girl group Neon Jungle. Neon Jungle were formed in 2013, and Trouble, which reached number 12 in the UK charts, was the lead single on their first and only studio album, Welcome to the Jungle. In May of 2015, the group announced that they were looking for a new record label for their second album, but just 2 months later, they announced that they were disbanding. Despite not even being a band anymore, they were nominated for the Nickelodeon Teen Choice Award for Next Big Thing in August of 2015. They didn't win the award. For more information on Neon Jungle, feel free to look them up online, which is something that we should have done before this recording. In the meantime, please enjoy 20 seconds of fair use fun with Neon Jungle performing Trouble.
So
That gets you psyched, doesn't it?
yeah, that
Should we go surfing now?
Yeah, but yeah, it's they get around the short running time, or help keep the pace of the short running time
by having 3 plot points.
Yeah, and also by having her talk aloud to herself the whole way through.
Like as if she's John McClane. Like,
Well, let's not forget, Joe, that she also makes friends with a seagull.
Oh, shut up. You reminded me of these stupid things.
Do you remember what she calls the seagull?
Oh, it's Steven Seagal.
Steven Seagal,
yeah.
which she then says into the GoPro camera, like Steven Seagal. So, do you think it's fair to say that this is an enjoyable film in spite of itself? Like, obviously, you seem really down on it. This is almost like Independence Day resurgence levels of scorn that you're heaping on this movie.
I can't give it that much scorn because it hasn't got that much to talk about in it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean,
it's
the 5 things in it
are
stupid.
Yeah, but it's like we haven't really talked about the shark. It's quite good. You know, like the tension building is consistent and it works well.
Yes, that's a good part of the film.
Yeah,
but
would you agree?
Yeah, no, I do.
I mean, I'm not saying it's Jaws,
no.
but it's like it's effectively done. You don't really see much of the shark throughout.
No, but then there's the thing with the harpoon I mentioned earlier.
Right.
It opens its mouth at one point and it's got a harpoon stuck in there.
Yeah.
So you're thinking, oh, right, she's going to reach in there.
It gives her the idea to... she sees it and she goes, now all I need is a collection of spiked objects. And then later on she sees that at the bottom of the ocean.
There's not... I mean, that's not an interesting thing. Like, it's like, when she basically says to the camera, I'm pregnant, and then isn't. Or like when she...
Right.
Like, there's an arrow in its mouth.
What's Joe Sherville's version of The Shallows? Then?
Right, okay, so she comes to the beach.
Yeah.
Just for surfing.
Right.
No...
Is she pregnant?
Yeah, no.
I thought the point was that, then she has more of a reason to go to Pregnant Woman's Bay, or whatever it's called, because she is pregnant.
Well, no, that's only if you have to be pregnant.
Right.
I never go there.
So she's not pregnant?
In my version,
okay,
no.
So she arrives alone, just as she does.
Yeah.
Right, goes surfing.
Yeah. So
are the other 2 surfers there?
They can be. They can be there.
Because they're like cannon fodder.
Yeah. None of the phone at the beginning. None of the phone call.
No, with her family.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're written out in my
Right.
version. She goes surfing.
Right.
Gets bitten by a shark.
Mm-hmm.
The whale's not there in my version.
Yeah.
Maybe a dolphin's died.
Okay.
Just not.
Do you remember the pod of CGI dolphins that
Fuck me.
swims over her at one point?
Right, the dolphins are gone.
In another Disney princess moment.
The dolphins are
jellyfish
gone.
there?
The jellyfish aren't there.
Okay, so the only fauna in the area are
Fish and sharks. There's some fish.
Okay.
There's shark.
seagull.
No seagull.
Okay.
So she gets bitten.
Yeah.
She gets on the rock.
Okay.
That's all as planned.
Who plays the rock?
The rock, obviously.
Oh, right. Okay.
Her board doesn't get broken. Maybe
Okay.
one of the plot points of the film is she tries to get her board back.
Right. And then she can surf away from the shark.
Well, no, she can just paddle out, or
Sure.
I mean, it doesn't work.
Okay. It's not so easy, this script writing business.
It's
is it, Jack?
it's easier than they make it look. Honestly, they've gone the wrong way.
Okay.
Minimalism, right, is beautiful. That's
Okay.
what they've done.
Strip it back is what you're saying.
Yeah, sure. You don't need dolphins jumping over it because that's unrealistic, isn't it?
Okay.
In this otherwise perfectly realistic film.
Yeah.
I wanted woman versus shark. People do get bitten by sharks and have to survive.
Yeah.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't that. This is mental.
This is it's very schmaltzy, isn't it?
Yes.
And the ending, as you said, is it's one year later and everything's got a golden hue.
Yeah.
And she's there with her family on an otherwise deserted beach.
I don't want a hug at the end of my shark attack movies, Chris.
No.
I want a
There's
body
no
bag
hug at the
getting
end of
zipped
Jaws.
up. No, exactly, yeah.
They know, Steven Spielberg knows full well that once Jaws is dead, Jaws ends about 40 seconds after the shark blows up.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, spoilers for Jaws.
Well, even if she'd washed up on the beach and
Yeah.
survived, fine. Or if she'd been on the beach the following year and had one leg
Mm-hmm.
because she lost the leg,
Yeah.
more interesting than just everything's fine.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what's she learned? Storytelling, Chris.
Mhm.
You're familiar with it. What has happened to this character other than she's got a scar on her leg? She hasn't learned anything. Except, I want to stay in medical school, which had nothing to do with the shark in the first place.
She's taught the value of never giving up, because at the start of the film, the tension that's palpable throughout the first act is Nancy going to give up medical school? We see her on the phone to her father. He's saying, Nancy, I don't think you should give up medical school. And she's saying, Dad, I might give up medical school. And then throughout the first act, we're thinking, is Nancy going to give up medical school? And then suddenly, Joe, a shark appears with horrified.
And it represents that whole question of will you give up medical
It's
school?
horrified. It's what it is, Joe. Is the shark represents the agency of an individual, in this case a woman, being taken from her. Okay, the decision is no longer hers to make because she's going to get eaten by a shark. Okay, you can't go to medical school if you're dead, famously. Okay,
It can be a cadaver.
well, probably shipping expenses. And so we're thinking, the shark's there, she's on the rock. We're thinking, how is Nancy going to get back to medical school, where we all know that she rightfully belongs? We see her stitch up her leg, and she's reminded of her ability, her natural predisposition to crisis management and dealing with physical injury. She's a perfect med school candidate. We're all saying it. We're screaming it at the screen. Everyone in the cinema that we were in, they're going, Nancy, go back to medical school, for God's sake. And then, the one hang-up that I have with the film is that it's, up until this point, it's all about female empowerment and how strong she is as an individual, as a woman. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then the film ruins it because she has to be rescued by a boy.
I like that. Like the joke. I could appreciate a good joke.
Thanks. But yeah, overall, I think this is the most 6 out of 10 movie I've ever seen. And it's
being generous.
Unless you're a 15-year-old girl
Yeah.
who likes surfing and scratches things into a pencil box and draws things in pen on your backpack, in which case it is the perfect introduction to horror movies. If you've got a 15-year-old girl or something, She'll probably love this
Or
film.
below.
Take them along.
If
Because it's a 10 out of 10 if you're a 15-year-old
if
girl.
you're the kind of person who puts on Tipp-Ex nail varnish, then this is the movie for you.
Exactly. If you're the kind of person who loves drawing on their own arm.
Yeah. If you love The Nightmare Before Christmas, then you'll love The Shallows.
Wearing some Converse, you'll love The Shallows.
Had a shakeaway this week, you'll love The Shallows.
Got a few hours to kill before the 30 Seconds to Mars concert. Why not see The Shallows?
Can you name a One Direction song? The Shallows may be the movie for you. I can't name any.
You can't name any One Direction songs. I don't believe you.
Baby, that's Justin Bieber, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not playing. I really can't think. I know I'll probably recognise him. To be clear. Nobody else. Ah, okay. Is that One Direction?
Yeah.
Right. Well, I love The Shallows.
Yeah.
I still don't know what the song's called. I just know the tune.
Yeah.
10
10 out of 10.
Yeah. If you have a ringtone, then The Shallows may be for you.
Sure. If you can fit The Shallows in between watching Pretty Little Liars, Gossip Girl, Gilmore Girls, and Supernatural, then The Shallows is a great way to spend 86 minutes. Anyway, Joe,
But for God's sake, don't stay up too late because you've got school in the morning.
Yeah. Please ask the permission of a parent. Right, enough of that self-indulgent nonsense.
Yeah.
It's time for the main event, Joe. You're Nancy, and you're in her predicament.
Yeah.
And
I'm pregnant, am I? Pregnant.
Yeah, you're pregnant. You're the idol of 15-year-old girls everywhere. Tell me how on earth you would survive.
Well, Chris, I mean, there's not. We mentioned there's only like 3 plot points in the film.
Yeah.
Which are.
Well,
let's
rattle through all the obvious ones that we obviously have to discount because they don't work within our rules.
Yeah.
But why don't you just not go surfing?
Yeah.
Well, she wants to go surfing, so she's
yeah.
not gonna, why don't you go surfing in Texas instead of Mexico? Well, she wanted to do that.
Yeah.
So why don't you just try and swim back to shore? Well, she can't do that because she'll get eaten.
Yeah.
So discounting all of those, there's not a lot of room left. Basically.
Listen back to Jaws. Listen back to our Jaws episode to find out how to survive a shark attack.
Yeah, well, you might not have to listen back to Jaws. But you leant over to me in the cinema at one point and said, I hope that the way she gets out of it is by riding... Was it...
riding her surfboard to safety.
Yeah. No, isn't it Steven Seagal... getting him to fly her back or something.
I didn't say that.
Didn't you?
No.
Oh, so it was ride her surfboard back to safety.
Yeah, I hope the film ends with her
like radical sort of like,
hey man, a cowabunga, dude.
Yeah, do the Bartman.
Yeah. she rides it perfectly, standing up onto the beach.
Yeah.
And the shark just like swims up behind her.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be good. That would push it up to a 7.2 out of 10. So, do you have any ideas? Well, I mean, we discussed it before the show. Basically, we've both looked up how to survive a shark attack.
Yeah.
So I think we've got them from different outlets. Sources.
Yeah. Mine is the article, "What to do if shark attacks you to survive."
Okay.
I don't know if the shark's attacking you in order to survive.
Okay.
Or what to do to survive if shark attacks you.
Okay. Well, why don't we hear your collection of tips and then we'll hear mine.
This is from Business Insider.
Okay.
So as all
classic,
as any young entrepreneur will need to know.
Yeah.
If they get bitten by a shark,
like international businessmen.
Yeah.
They have no time.
All women. Come on.
All women. Well, yeah. Okay.
So
women are too busy surfing.
Well, that's it. Yeah. Well. All the more reason to listen in for this advice then.
100% of the female characters in this movie are surfers.
Is the shark female? We don't know.
It is.
It's not a surfer, is it?
Well, we see it in a wave at one point. It's clearly riding the current.
Fine. Okay, so the first idea, Chris, from Business Insider, for the business professionals in the world.
Sure.
Avoid swimming between sunset and sunrise.
Okay.
They say that this is when sharks are most active.
Okay.
So I mean, every single time in the day is between sunset and sunrise, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like,
that's true.
because, I mean, 5 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
that's between sunrise and sunset,
Yeah,
and like 5 a.m. that's between sunrise and sunset.
sure.
Because
In one way or another, yeah.
it's like saying we're between between the North and South Pole,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you are in the world, you're
No.
going to be between them.
Yeah.
So don't go swimming.
Yeah. Well, that is, yeah.
Sound
Job
advice.
done.
Yeah. Stay in a group
Okay.
and don't stray away from the shore. Lone individuals are more likely to be attacked than large groups, and the further you are from shore, the harder it is to get help.
Okay.
So I guess just accept as many people as you can,
Mm-hmm.
because like 1,000 people, no one will get bitten by a shark.
No. Imagine that.
Mm.
That should be the next Sharknado or whatever.
Yeah.
Mega shark versus
Giant
1,000 men.
Just 1,000 paddlers in the sea.
Yeah.
But that doesn't work in Jaws, does it? Because they get attacked on the beach, the little kid gets killed.
Yeah, that's true.
Chris, I noticed you're wearing your medallions there.
Yeah.
Your
Always. My golden
four-finger
chains
rings.
that I bought with the
Your gold-
podcast. The podcast proceeds, of course. I'm a little bit behind on my payments.
Loan repayments,
Yeah.
I mean, you got your eyebrows pierced, both
Yeah.
of them, and your tongue.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, you've gold-plated your head, haven't you?
Yeah.
It's like a metal plate that kind of sticks out from the skin,
Right.
like a bald patch,
Yeah.
but it's made of solid gold.
Yeah.
That's the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
Well, you got all
Well,
that.
it's like a thumbnail. It's like a head nail.
A head nail
Yeah, but gold.
in the middle of your forehead.
Yep.
It's quite weird. And you've got the that plate that the guy in Stargate's got.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bit like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't know.
Where are we going with this?
Well, you've got all this. So you shouldn't go swimming because you should avoid wearing shiny jewellery
Okay.
because it resembles fish scales.
Okay. That seems like sensible advice.
Yeah, and I think the risk is Blake Lively's character,
Mm-hmm.
Nancy.
Yeah.
She's wearing a lot of jewellery, isn't she?
Mm.
Which does ultimately help her because she's able to stitch the wound closed. But, I mean, she got herself in this mess in the first place.
She did, yeah.
If she'd gone like with no jewellery,
I'll tell you a hobby where sharks can't attack you.
Go on.
Roller skating.
yeah. What if you're roller skating in the sea?
Well, you've gone a bit. You probably need to improve your roller skating ability.
Don't go, Chris, in waters used by fishermen.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's all.
That's self-explanatory. Yeah.
That's all water, though, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
How big do you consider the waters to be? So,
Well, no, but it's like
if
you could say international waters, couldn't you?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But
So
that's,
a fisherman has his rod out in the Mediterranean.
yeah, but that's not the same waters, you know.
Oh,
Well, maybe. Yeah.
no, you never know.
Tides, yeah, push them around.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, sharks can smell bait
Well,
from very far
I
away.
mean,
Chris.
is your point don't go in the sea? Because I seem to remember that at the start of this How to Survive situation, so International Business Insider needs to shape up a little bit, I think.
Porpoise sightings don't mean sharks aren't present.
Okay.
Now, I'm not sure if that is a tip on how to survive a shark attack, or just
It's just general
Fun-
advice.
fun
Well,
fact.
you know, yeah. She maybe at the point at which the shoal of dolphins appears, she lets her guard down.
The CGI dolphins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Disney dolphins appear.
Because she's thinking, oh, there's a shark there.
Yeah,
a dolphin
and then
jumps
it's
up.
not, and then she's like, "Oh, phew."
There can't be a shark
Yeah.
now.
Why
Yeah.
would dolphins and a shark be here?
Don't splash excessively.
Okay. Yeah. Good.
Fair advice. Because
Yeah.
you look like a wounded animal. And don't allow pets in the water.
Okay.
So
See, there's the moment where she sort of sends Steven Seagull off on the broken bit of surfboard, and I assumed that she was sort of sacrificing
to give him his full name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I assumed that she was sort of sacrificing him
Yeah.
as bait.
Yeah. But you have to remember, Chris, this is a film for 15-year-old
Yeah,
girls.
but then at the end of the film, she discovers that he lives to fight another day.
Yeah.
Of course, the bird is going to die like very soon because birds without flight are prey to land mammals.
Yes.
So that bird is going to die. So well done, you. Well done, Nancy.
Yeah. You're a murderer.
Yeah.
But don't allow pets in water. Is the seagull a pet?
Yeah, I think by that point she tamed it, isn't she?
Yeah. No dogs, no cats.
No.
But they might, I don't know, lure the shark in somehow. Maybe. Do you think the dog would be able to defend you?
No.
Would be able to bite the shark?
They're not aquatic animals, Joe. I've told you this before.
Okay. Yeah. Often confused.
Yeah.
Be careful when you're near sandbars or steep drop-offs.
Okay.
Apparently they're the favourite hangouts of sharks.
Okay.
I don't know what a sandbar is. So hopefully I'm not near one now. Okay, do you know what one is?
Well, I'd imagine it's just, it's the same as a city bar, but it's just made out of sand.
Yeah.
Especially if it's the shark's favourite place to hang out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All the top underwater haunts.
Favourite watering hole.
And above all, Chris, do not enter water where sharks are known to be present.
Yeah.
Now that should always be
cardinal rule number 1.
Yeah, of anything.
Shark-infested waters.
Yeah. I mean, do not enter anything where sharks are known to be present.
Just not even, land. Yeah.
Yeah.
Generally good advice.
So just to summarise, don't swim at any time of day.
Okay.
Stay in a group, as large as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Don't wear jewellery. Don't go in waters used by fishermen.
Okay.
Porpoise sightings don't mean sharks aren't present.
Mm-hmm.
Don't splash.
Mm-hmm.
Be careful near sandbars.
Yeah.
And don't enter water where sharks are.
Okay.
So that's a good
solid advice.
Yeah. Let's go on to yours. What do you have?
So these tips are from nidirect.gov.uk.
A proper government website.
Yeah. So let me just scroll up here. So here are some of the risks of dealing with sharks. So if you find yourself dealing with a shark, you may end up on a loan with very bad terms. You may have to pay an extortionate rate of interest. You may end up harassed if you get behind on your repayments. And you may be pressured into borrowing more from them to repay one debt with an... Oh, no, wait. Oh. Sorry. Hang on. It's the wrong bit of... So, this...
Loan sharks, was it?
Yeah, that was actually one of my personal... So this is from CNN, a reputable news site CNN, with their first email in to How to Survive Show.
Yeah, thanks,
the
CNN.
email address, of course, is howtosurviveshow@gmail.com for all your shark-related information, and if anyone wants to lend me any money. So, point number 1 is don't panic.
Well, she fucking panicked, doesn't she?
Well, she does panic, yeah, because her leg's hanging off.
Yeah.
Splashing can excite/incite shark interest.
Insight?
Yeah.
What, as in, like, that splashing probably means there's a...
No, as in INCITE.
Insight?
Yeah, incite.
Right. Excite and
yeah,
insight.
Yeah. Shark interest. So that, which is what she does. And what you were saying, splashing is bad.
Yeah, it's like a wounded animal, isn't it?
Yeah, and the CNN explains this as the problem with sharks, Joe, is that they're not like, say, cats or dogs, right?
No, they're not.
Yeah.
That's the end of the point.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Yeah, well, it's one of the problems. Yeah, they're not like cats or dogs, Joe. In that,
just a few ways.
Yeah. And I know what you're thinking, Joe.
Yeah.
Because you've got one reason in your mind.
Up to now, I was thinking sharks are very similar to cats and dogs.
But the reason that they're different is because sharks can only interact with the world through eating. Is that they can only interact with the world through eating. So, unlike a dog or a cat who might be able to show its affection or interest in you by rubbing against you or pawing at you, a shark, it doesn't have any of those options available to it. So the only way for it to interact with you or any object in the world is by eating.
It doesn't say cats and dogs.
CNN emailed this in, all right? Don't contradict CNN. They said they'd put this article up as well. So if you Google CNN shark attack, it'll be on there.
The only way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So point number 2, maintain eye contact. All right, at all times. Okay. Sharks are ambush predators. Eye contact makes them uncomfortable.
It can't interact with you.
Yeah, but
Can you interact with it?
no, but it's saying that don't. It can make it, eye contact can make it uncomfortable.
Yeah, but you have, you have to be being eaten to make eye contact. Surely.
No, well, no, not necessarily. So, have you? I mean, you must have been in uncomfortable situations before, Joe.
Yes.
Right? So, what's your first instinct if you're in an uncomfortable situation?
Make a joke, lighten the mood.
Okay, that as we've established, the sharks are not able to interact with the world in any other way. Okay, so your options at this point are eat or leave.
Yeah.
Okay, so from now on, it's like a choose your own adventure story.
Okay, right.
So I'm making eye contact with you. Are you going to eat or are you going to leave?
Eat.
Okay, well that's troubling for me. But according to this, it's it can make them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Okay, and I presume that's uncomfortable in the way that they would feel awkward and might leave.
Yeah.
Point 3: stay big or get small.
Choices.
If it's attacking you, then make yourself big, as this intimidates the shark. Okay?
Make
so
yourself big.
Make yourself big. So you've got to not splash, make yourself big, and maintain eye contact. So I hope you're keeping track of all these things. However, if the shark is just passing through the area, then the better advice is to make yourself as small as possible. Because if you're big and it's just passing through, then it might see you as competition for food, and so will be inclined to eat you.
Rather than kill you because you're competition. Well, so you don't make yourself too big, is what you're saying?
No, it's knowing when to make yourself big.
Right, because
Okay?
is there a limit?
Because if it's passing, no. It's if it's passing through and you make yourself big, he's going to look at you and he's going to go, that thing is like, if there's loads of fish around here, that big thing over there, he's going to want to eat the fish as well. So I better get rid of him.
It's in the process of eating a whale.
Yeah.
So how big do you have to make yourself to
Well,
be
no, you just got to make yourself look intimidating.
more than a whale?
Yeah, while maintaining eye contact and not panicking.
All right.
D. Okay, little point 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't play dead. As the CNN article helpfully points out, this isn't a bear.
So it's not a cat or a dog or a bear.
No, it's a shark. All right, so don't play dead, because that's what you do with bears, famously.
Yeah.
But as we established way back when we covered backcountry, you got to know the type of bear,
right? Exactly.
Before you do that. But anyway, don't play dead. This isn't a bear. That's a verbatim quote.
Right.
Basically, the tip is don't punch the nose, punch the gills.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Do you know why?
I remember that from Jaws.
Yeah. Do you know why you shouldn't punch the nose?
You'd make it angry, wouldn't it?
Well, no. Even
you're putting your hand in its mouth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly. So point number 5: cut off the angles.
What angles?
So try and get your back against something, e.g., a coral reef. Okay.
Ah.
So she nearly does this, doesn't she?
She stands on like
Nancy. That is.
Poison coral.
It's quite difficult though, unless the reef is very high, or you have breathing apparatus. A method seen in use by Hooper in Jaws, the last shark attack movie we covered.
Do you know what? I missed Jaws.
Yeah. That was a good movie, isn't it? Point number 6, the final point. So while you're not panicking, you're maintaining eye contact, you're contextually staying big or small, depending on what the situation is, not playing dead and cutting off the angles. It says to slowly back away as gently as possible. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to the bottom of the article,
Mm-hmm.
at which point it says, if a white shark is in full attack mode, there's not much you're going to be able to do to escape without serious injury at that point. So that's good, isn't it? So thanks for that, CNN, making me read your whole article before going, but basically, if you're being attacked...
Yeah.
Like, I know that about sharks. I'm not going to be going, oh, there's like a, 10% chance I might get injured here.
Yeah.
All right? It's not a cat or a dog or a bear. We've established that.
We know that much.
For a fact.
Yeah.
So overall, 2 very solid sets of advice to combine, maybe, see how they tally up. And then you've got golden rules for shark survival there, basically.
Be careful with all that gold, though, in the water, because it might distract you.
That's very true, yeah. So if you've got any more shark survival tips or any survival tips in general, or you'd like to recommend a film to us, then please get in touch. The email address is howtosurviveshow@gmail.com. The Twitter handle is @howtosurvivepod. And you can get in touch. You can join the discussion.
And that's exactly what the following people have done, Chris.
Have they really?
Sophie has been in touch. She says, just watching snakes on a plane.
Okay.
You have to cover this in the podcast. Amazing. Oh, higher praise indeed, Sophie.
Well, we were just talking about how we should really look into snakes on a plane, given that we've just covered a very comparable B movie.
Sharks in the sea.
Yeah. Sharks in the water.
Yeah.
Shark in the water.
Yeah. Nate has been in touch, who says, good day, lads. Enjoying the show. Have binge listened to almost all the episodes in the last month or so on the drive to work. As far as movie ideas go, maybe have a look at Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Ah, yes.
Good for a laugh. Keep up the good work. Cheers, Nate. And yeah, I've actually seen that film.
Yeah?
It's good.
Maybe we should do a sort of horror comedy section.
We could do a scary movie, Chris. That'd be good, wouldn't it?
Oh, I love Scary Movie.
Yeah.
What a brilliant movie. It's my second favourite movie after Meet the Spartans.
I mean, if you're a 15-year-old boy, that's a whole other thing. And also from Corey, please can you do an episode on the very good movie Dead End? And it's very good. I think the characters in the movie could do with some survival tips.
Okay.
Tantalising, Corey.
Well, that's exactly the sort of movie that we like.
It's the minimum we'd look for.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So thank you very much, all 3 of you, for getting involved.
Thank you.
And we will add those to the upcoming list.
Yeah, and once again, that email address, if you want to get in touch yourself and have your email read on the show, is howtosurviveshow@gmail.com. And don't forget, you can leave us a review on iTunes. It helps us reach a wider audience, and we really appreciate it. So if you enjoy the podcast, then just go onto your iTunes app, on your podcast app, and leave us a little review. Tell us what you like about the show, what you don't like about the show, and give us a value in stars based on how much you enjoy our content. That is how reviews work.
Yeah, and if you've listened this far, there's absolutely no reason it wouldn't be 5 stars, unless
you're just boiling with hatred.
You hated it so much you were paralysed and couldn't turn it off. Let's hope not.
Yeah, hopefully that's not the case.
So we will see you next week, front and centre, for another shark movie, Chris.
Yep.
Deep Blue Sea.
Yes, Deep Blue Sea. And
I've had it with these motherfucking sharks in this motherfucking sea.